Good morning, all of you. Welcome to the channel. So let's start with today's analysis video, which is going to be for 14th of May 2023. So firstly, the verdict in Karnataka, we see कि Congress, it surged, topples BJP in Karnataka, and Congress has secured 135 seats out of 224. BJP is at 66, JDS at 19, and others at 4. So here we got the verdict for Karnataka, and moving forward, so groundwater exploitation is silently sinking the ground beneath India's feet. So that is definitely one of the reasons behind the subsidence of land. And specifically in the hilly areas, when we talk about the Joshimath situation, even that was one of the reasons. So cracks in buildings and sinking land in Joshimath, a hill town in Uttarakhand, it made the national headlines earlier this year. Similar phenomena, it has been playing out for years in plains also, in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and Faridabad. So even in plain regions, this thing is visible. So unlikely culprit is the excessive groundwater extraction. So agricultural practices, northwestern India में they are heavily dependent upon groundwater withdrawal क्योंकि वहाँ पे water intensive crops are cultivated, which includes paddy and sugarcane. So with limited monsoon rain, so ultimately burden shift हो जाता है groundwater पे, and that leads to excessive groundwater exploitation. So पंजाब की अगर हम बात करें तो 76% of groundwater blocks जो हैं they are over exploited. चंडीगढ़ में it is at 64 and Delhi में it is at 50%. So NCB and Navy, they make the biggest seizure of drugs in India. So in a joint operation, they have seized drugs of around 2,500 kg. So methamphetamine, it was valued at around rupees 15,000 crore, and that was seized. And the drug, it has its origin in Pakistan. And it was loaded to the major ship from the Makaran coast. So NCB is the Anti-Drug Enforcement Agency, Narcotics Control Bureau, and Indian Navy. They had this joint operation off the Kerala coast. So it's an aerial picture of Visakhapatnam. The annual fishing conservation period, it is going to end on 14th of June. So it's an aerial view of mechanized boats that are anchored due to fishing ban at Visakhapatnam on Saturday. So study on butterflies migration opens door for conservation. So millions of milkweed butterflies, they undertake migration between eastern and western Ghats in southern India, seeking refuge from the harsh summers. So in this picture also you can see like different varieties, different species of butterflies. Starting from the left, from this one, it is the striped tiger, then we have blue tiger, then dark blue tiger, and plain tiger. So this spectacular ecological phenomena had been recorded more than a century ago, but received little research and conservation attention until recently. So even like butterflies, they can't survive in harsh summers. So that's the reason behind their migration from Eastern Ghats to Western Ghats. So they also play an important ecological role also during this migration. So as pollinators, because butterflies also act as pollinators, their movements, it can impact the entire ecosystem. So that's the, we can say their importance, and their migration, it is threatened by the habitat destruction and the climate change. Definitely, these are the most prominent and the most common reasons. So talking about the Gaganyaan mission, so parachutes for the re-entry capsule, it has been sent to ISRO facility in Bengaluru. So we are seeing progress and developments as far as the Gaganyaan mission is concerned. So in this picture, you can see crew module, it will carry 3 astronauts as part of India's first human space flight program. So this is going to be India's first, and it has been indigenously developed. So the parachutes have also been indigenously developed for the safe return of the capsule that will carry astronauts under the proposed Gaganyaan program, and they are set to undergo fitment test at ISRO facility in Bengaluru. So Aerial Delivery Research and Development Establishment, it is Agra-based laboratory under the DRDO, and they have developed these parachutes for India's manned space flight program, Gaganyaan. So it will be like going up till the low Earth orbit and then coming back from there. So again, it is talking about the Karnataka verdict. So here, like, it's not so important for us from the examination perspective. Again, talking about Karnataka, coming to the world page now. So raid, it leaves civilians and 7 troops, 6 militants dead in Pakistan. So we know that both the economic situation and the political situation is not stable in Pakistan. Then blast rocks Khartoum as varying sides affirm humanitarian pledge. So airstrikes pummeled Khartoum with representatives of Sudan's varying factors meeting in Saudi Arabia for talks to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe as the fighting entered a 5th week. So till now, 750 people have been killed and hundreds of thousands they have been displaced since fighting interrupted on April 15 in Sudan. So we've been talking about Cyclone Mocha. So it will be proceeding towards Myanmar and Bangladesh. So it's expected to make a landfall on Sunday morning between the Cox's Bazars, where 1 million Rohingya refugees they live in the camps, and which is largely made up of flimsy shelters, and then Sitwe port in Myanmar's Rakhine Coast. So it will be making a landfall there in Myanmar. So Ukraine used the long-range Storm Shadow missiles from Britain to attack Luhansk. That has been claimed by Russia. Long-range Shadow missiles, and these have been supplied from Britain to Ukraine. And else we also talk about the Patriot missiles, which are made available by USA to Ukraine. So that's there, and we don't need to like go into the technicalities. So Ukraine is saying that they are moving forward along the Bhamukt front. So आपको at least जो भी important cities के names they have been mentioned important places of Ukraine in the newspaper आपको उन सबकी location पता होना चाहिए and you can easily get one map online. So आप search करोगे तो map पे आपको सारी चीजों की location एक जगह मिल जाएगी. So do go through that map also. It becomes important. Coming to the science page. So here UK it sees success in mitochondrial replacement therapy. So like knowing about the basics of this therapy would be sufficient. So 8 years after the UK, it became the first country in the world to approve a reproductive technique, which is known as MRT, that is mitochondrial replacement therapy. As in 5 children, they have been born using this procedure. So Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority of the UK fertility regulator that approves the IVF-based procedure case by case basis. Recently, they have confirmed this in response to Freedom of Information request. Then we saw that Australia it became the second country to approve this therapy after UK, and we seen key mitochondrial replacements in less than 5 children. They were carried out by the Newcastle Fertility Center in UK. So 3-parent IVF. So mitochondrial replacement, it involves transferring the nuclear genetic material from the mother's egg into a donor's egg that has had its nuclear DNA removed so the embryo does not inherit the mitochondrial disease. So this is the main purpose of this therapy कि mitochondria replace किया जाता है of the donor's egg and जो mitochondria रहता है of the mother's egg उसको they put into the donor's egg so that जो mitochondrial disease है that is not inherited by the fetus. So this would allow a woman carrying mitochondrial diseases to have healthy children. So basically mitochondria जो basically unhealthy है या फिर to prevent this disease उसको replace कर देते हैं with the healthy mitochondria and resulting IVF embryo it combines the sperm and egg from the biological parents then. And जो mitochondria होता है it is from the donor's egg. So इसीलिए इसको हम बोलते हैं 3-parent IVF. So as a result, baby it has DNA from each of its parents along with 37 genes from the donor. So this is the reason why it is also called 3-parent IVF. So long COVID, it's a lingering problem requiring greater attention. So for long COVID, the onset is more insidious and diagnosis is less certain. And there are no diagnostic tests to confirm the long COVID. And therefore, a sizable number of patients, they are also going undetected. So what are the challenges of long COVID? So WHO defines long COVID as the continuation of the symptoms lasting for over 2 months after infection with no alternative explanation. So this is what is long COVID is. कि symptoms जो है they last for over 2 months and कोई और alternative explanation भी नहीं है at the same time. So classification of long COVID, it has become difficult as there are like several symptoms are reported by those suffering from it. So like एक proper we can't say कि एक set of symptoms है through which we can identify कि a person has been infected with long COVID. And then again इसको detect करना भी थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है तो एक वो challenge भी है. And then data reveals that Homo adaptation to diverse environments. So Homo species, particularly the Homo sapiens, they were uniquely equipped to adapt to the diverse environments, which may have enabled our species and that of our closely related ancestors to survive in highly fluctuating Palestocene environments, whether it like this is because our species, they are uniquely successful at adapting to the Pleistocene environment because we outcompeted other contemporary Homo species or because we simply outlived others by chance remaining largely unknown. The possible reasons हो सकते हैं. So a break in the Western Ghats, so often called as significant discontinuity in the Western Ghats, जो Palaghat gap है, that is about 40 kilometer wide with the steep Nilgiris and Annamalai hills, both rising above 2000 MSL on either side. So जो Palaghat gap है उसको हम बोलते हैं the significant discontinuity in the Western Ghats. So historically, they are very important as a significant gateway into the state of Kerala. So Kerala may we have this Palaghat gap and it's a corridor for both the roads and railways also that connects Coimbatore with the Palakkad. So जो और बाकी gaps हैं in the Western Ghats वो हमें पता होना important है and Eastern Ghats में भी हैं, so that also becomes important. So contrast to the tropical rainforest of the Western Ghats, जो vegetation मिलती है Palaghat gap में, it is classified as dry evergreen forest. So Palaghat gap वाले region में it is dry evergreen, and अगर हम normally Western Ghats की बात करें, it is tropical rainforest. And then accordingly जो flora and fauna है वो भी हमें थोड़े different मिलते हैं in Western Ghats and the Palaghat gap region. So जो ये पालागढ़ गैप वाला region है, it is a geological shear zone that runs from east to west. So shear zones, जो zones होते हैं, they are weak regions in the Earth's crust, and this is the reason कि why tremors they are sometimes felt in Coimbatore also, क्योंकि they are like, here we can say कि Earth का crust is weak, so tremors they can easily be felt. And then एक और theory है कि this Palaghat gap it originated because of the drift of the continental shelves after Australia and Africa broke off from the Gondwana landmass. So India and Madagascar remained as one landmass until large-scale volcanic activity that split it into two, and the split occurred where the Palaghat gap it is located. So like this is mirrored in the Renosera Gap on the eastern face of Madagascar. So basically माना ये जाता है कि उस point of time पे it originated when there was a split between India and Madagascar because of the volcanic eruptions. Then यहाँ पे tree species mention किए गए हैं, like there are around 450 species of trees, like some of them are champa tree, Tamil Nadu is called Sambagan. So like that have been around for 130 million years. And definitely this region receives a lot of rainfall, and this region has been an island refuge for all forms of life, even as cycles of ice ages and droughts they have reduced the biodiversity in the surrounding areas. Business page पे we see कि G7 finance chief they warn of global uncertainty as US debt crisis looms. So this is not a new topic. यूएस डेट क्राइसिस के बारे में हम पहले डिटेल में बात कर चुके हैं, एंड क्या पॉसिबल सॉल्यूशंस है दैट आल्सो वी हैव आल्सो डिस्कस्ड. बट जो मेन कंसर्न है दैट इज ग्लोबल अनसर्टेनिटी बिकॉज ऑफ दिस looming debt crisis of USA. So central banks they vote to keep inflation expectations anchored. Finance leaders उन्होंने फिर से reiterate किया, they फिर से repeated that global financial system is resilient. It promises vigilance and agile and the flexible approach to macroeconomic policy making and heightened uncertainty over the outlook. So finance leaders of group of 7 rich nations warned of heightening global economic uncertainty. So यहाँ पे we need to know कि कौन सी 7 countries है which are a part of G7, and बाकी जो important चीज थी we've already discussed. So like abhi we can't be like in a situation of calm when we talk about the global financial system because of the reason. And iske alawa we've also seen ki so far 3 banks they have also failed in USA. So specifically USA ki baat kare to even there we can say ki concerns are like very huge, and we are not in a comfortable position right now. So Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India उन्होंने एक पैनल बनाया है to advise on mental health coverage. See health coverage की बात करते हैं, we saw कि it spiked after COVID-19 pandemic, but specifically now they are focusing upon mental health coverage also. So holistic review of types of conditions and treatments from an insurance perspective that is needed. And we are also having like NIMHANS, which is the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. So even the committee, it will provide advice and inputs on जो भी existing coverage है, covers है to be offered for mental illnesses. So if we increase the agroforestry, so it will help in cutting down the carbon emissions. So we need to know कि agroforestry क्या होती है actually. So with demand for the plywood increasing by 10% per annum in tune with the urbanization, definitely urbanization increase हो रही है, तो demand for plywood is also increasing. So India embarking on the ambitious net zero target by 2070. Top industry executive has called for an urgent need to increase agroforestry cover in India. So right now the forest cover in India, it has increased from 21% to 25%. So जो 4% हुआ है increase, that has been contributed by agroforestry in the recent years, and this is basically supported by the plywood industry. So plywood industry is a major player when we talk about the agroforestry, and definitely it helps in reducing the carbon footprint. So if 5% of the land would come under plantation, India's forest cover would increase from 25% to 30% the entire surface area. So he's basically suggesting a policy shift that could be like, it can bring about transformational changes. So ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, it's like orders, they are growing, and we're seeing India Post gears up to join it. So basically जो आप यहाँ इस पे services provide की जा रही है on ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, we are seeing कि जो options है, they are much cheaper है. So government backed modular network है for e-commerce, food and grocery delivery and cabs. It is not meant to create a price war, but to help the small enterprises to get to a threshold in the digital commerce. So जो smaller enterprises हैं उनके लिए बहुत अच्छी opportunity है which is being offered by ONDC. So basically अगर हम prices भी compare करें between जो Zomato या फिर Swiggy charge करते हैं वहाँ पे the prices at ONDC they are cheaper, but it is being clearly stated कि ये कोई price war के लिए it has not been introduced. Main purpose is कि जो small enterprises हैं they also get an opportunity. So while ONDC architecture, it allows the network participants to focus on whittling down the economics of their individual part of the e-commerce process. There's also larger goal of reducing the power of large players with food delivery firms like Swiggy and Zomato most under the threat. But बोल सकते हैं कि जो 2 या 3 प्लेयर्स ही हैं तो जिनके हाथ में ज्यादा पावर थी तो मोर नंबर ऑफ ऑप्शंस होंगे तो जो मोनोपोली पावर उनके हाथ में थी वो भी कहीं ना कहीं इम्पैक्ट होगी. तो बेसिकली ये बोला जा रहा है कि जो प्राइसेस डिफरेंस है, हमें जो प्राइस डिफरेंस देखने को मिल रहा है दैट इज टू द ट्यून ऑफ 30 to 40%. Let's take a financial express. So again the Karnataka news. So expect the RBI to hold the repo rate at 6.5% according to an SBI report. तो कोर सीपीआई जो थी वो कल हमने देखा इट इज प्लंज टू ऑलमोस्ट 3-year लो टू 5.06% इन अप्रैल एज अगेंस्ट 5.74% इन मार्च. सो कल हमने सीपीआई की बात करी थी, हियर इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट कोर सीपीआई. सो कोर सीपीआई में भी वी आर सीइंग कि इट इज बीन रिकॉर्डेड एट 3-year लो, एंड जो टॉलरेंस लिमिट है 6% उससे नीचे भी है. सो गिवन की इन्फ्लेशन हमें कम होती हुई दिखाई दे रही है तो ऑन दैट बेसिस इट लाइक यही स्पेक्यूलेट किया जा रहा है कि आने वाले टाइम में जो नेक्स्ट पॉलिसी मीट रहेगी एमपीसी की उसमें रेपो रेट को चेंज ना किया जाए या फिर रिड्यूस किया जाए, बट लेट्स सी एक्चुअली होता क्या है. सो दिस इज ओनली अकॉर्डिंग टू द एसबीआई रिपोर्ट. So SEO members, they have adopted India's proposal for digital public infrastructure. Now you need to be clear with this definition. If digital public infrastructure mein kaun se components are included, and even SEO members, they've also adopted, this is India's proposal for DPI. So proposal. It includes platforms like Aadhaar, UPI, DigiLocker. These are examples of DPI. So the member countries, they would be moving forward as far as new developments regarding DPI is concerned. So SEO is a regional intergovernmental organization comprising 8 members. It includes India, China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Pakistan. So main focus of this organization is on regional security, economic and cultural cooperation. So C-PACE is to simplify the removal of company names from the register. So Ministry of Corporate Affairs is set up. Center for Processing Accelerated Corporate Exit that is expected to provide timely and process-bound striking off of the companies from the MCA register. So again, this article is talking about Karnataka elections. So global economy की बात करें तो even in USA inflation is cooling down, and then on the other side Bank of England ने rate hike किया है. So even like USA के Fed rate ने भी they are doing the rate hikes. तो अभी तक उन्होंने like pause भी नहीं किया, ना ही reduce किया है rate so far. So let's see कि आने वाले टाइम में क्या रहता है, क्योंकि हमें थोड़ी बहुत चीजें on the inflation front improve होती हुई दिखाई दे रही है. Coming to Indian Express, so let's see what are the important articles here. So all political news on the front page. So gig workers की बात करें, यहाँ पे केस स्टडी दे रखी है of women at gig work, and specifically it is restricted to Delhi. So unruly customers के साथ उनको डील करना पड़ता है. Job insecurity obviously हमेशा रहती है. Prejudice is against women, and financial freedom comes at a cost for women who are working as delivery executives or cab drivers. So definitely बहुत सारे challenges हैं that you have to face. So 2,800 is the women drivers in Delhi and 250 are women food delivery executives. So आपको पता होना चाहिए more about gig economy, whether do we have a law proper regulating which is talking about the interest of the gig workers, and right now कौन से ऐसे like labor codes में भी क्या gig economy gig workers के interest की बात की गई है या नहीं की गई है. So that becomes important. So it's all about Karnataka elections and the win of Congress. So supremacy or democracy, it is talking about the elections of Karnataka. So that's why we're not taking up. It's saying that rapid descent into religion-based politics was witnessed in the just concluded elections in Karnataka, and a reference to the Bajrang Dal, a strong armed political outfit that indulges in hate speech and often violence, was twisted as a reference to Bajrangbali. So basically, hate speech ke bare mein, if you can find out more, ki whether it has been mentioned in the constitution, yeah, do we have any law? What are the laws regarding dealing with hate speech? Yeah, Supreme Court ki kya judgments rahi hain? So that is important from this perspective. So the lenders, they feel कि credit growth का जो momentum चल रहा है, it is going to continue even in this financial year. And in the previous financial year, it grew at 15% compared to 9.6%. So on this basis, we are seeing and we feel कि credit momentum is going to continue. So Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India का कहना ये है कि you need to provide the cover for mothers who are undergoing surrogacy. So insurance regulator has issued the insurance, it has asked the insurance companies to provide comprehensive coverage for intending parents and surrogate mothers undergoing surrogacy and fertility treatments. And insurance coverage of such amount, it may be prescribed for a period of 12 months in favor of the oocyte donor by the commissioning couple or the woman from an insurance company or an agent recognized by the insurance regulator. So India's first half जो vegetable oil imports they have been increased by 21%. So increased shipments of refined palm oil is a cause of concern. And like 81 lakh tons India's vegetable oil imports in the first 6 months of this calendar year. 10.5 lakh tons in April is the imports that remained lower by 10 percentage points. So by 49 lakh tons is the palm oil imports. They rose, and total import of the soft oil, it includes sunflower and soybean oils also. So that remained lower. So India, we know it is the world's leading vegetable oil buyer, and major players or major supplier includes Indonesia. So oil year runs from November to October is the oil year. And India, it imports palm oil mainly from Indonesia and Malaysia. So even like at this front also we are talking about कि हमें domestic production को increase करने की ज़्यादा focus करना पड़ेगा so that जो हमारी import पे like दो ही countries हैं, 2 या 3 countries हैं जिनके ऊपर we rely. So in future we need to reduce our reliance on these countries. So G7 की हम बात कर चुके हैं. Main concern is US debt crisis, and that is the situation going forward. डिटेल में यूएस डेट क्राइसिस के बारे में भी बात कर चुके हैं. तो बहुत सारी चीजें रिपीट होती है, तो आज के लिए this is the complete analysis video, and thank you so much for joining us, and do like the video and also subscribe to the channel.